Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom and my God, we have a football story. It's been very quiet and I think we can pretty accurately parlay this into a championship story as well, because championship stalwart Mick McCarthy has finished up with the Republic of Ireland. It was announced yesterday that the planned succession of McCarthy by Stephen Kenny, the under-21 manager, has been moved forward. Obviously with the virus, the fixtures for the playoff matches for Euro 2020, as it was, it's now going to be Euro 2021, have been postponed indefinitely. So Ireland have taken the decision to end Mick's contract now, bring Stephen Kenny in early, so he'll manage the playoffs and possibly take Ireland through to the Euros, which means that Mick, and I quote, is back on the market as a manager. I think Mick's done quite well financially out of this. Mick doesn't tend to come out of much stuff smelling badly, does he? He is going to be paid a severance package. I won't quote the figure that I heard. And he will still get his bonus if they make it across to the Euros. And as usual, he's played a bit of a blinder here, Mick. He's a very savvy operator when it comes to his career and his brand, which he did mention. That is his words in press conferences at Ipswich. And I think he's managed this sort of transition absolutely brilliantly, really. Things obviously petered out in a bit of a fractious way at Ipswich. He had that brilliant playoff finish, 6th place in 2014-15, and then kind of tailed off, and he would come out and kind of take the flak for Marcus Evans' investment. Obviously, the relationship between Ipswich fans and McCarthy soured, and he times his departure at 12th place in the championship. Obviously, look at what happened to Ipswich since then. Paul Hurst came in, ripped up McCarthy's squad, loads of players out, loads of players in. Relegation, Ipswich now in League One. None too clever there. And I think this was a really good buffer job for McCarthy, just to get out of league football for a while. Go back to a place where he knows the ropes, he's done the job before. It was a short-term contract, and it's pretty much worked out perfectly. Now, obviously, nothing's working out perfectly with the COVID, but if you look at it from McCarthy's point of view now, he's had his severance package, so financially that's good for him. If Ireland now lose this playoff game, well, he wasn't there. It's not his fault. If they win the playoff game, well, he was the one that set it all up and got things in motion. So he's going to come out of that looking good. Like I say, there's this kind of notion of a buffer job, just getting him out of the leagues and English football for a little while, out of the line of fire. So, and we always know with managers, when they go away for a while, if they time it right, all of a sudden their stock seems to rise. And now I assume people will not see the fractious end at Ipswich, but they'll now look, oh, Mick McCarthy's available again. And whatever you say about the last days at Ipswich, Mick is an absolute championship stalwart here. You can go back into the 90s playoffs with Millwall. Then in the early noughties, after he'd been and managed Ireland, it was playoffs with Sunderland and then champions with Sunderland, playoffs with Wolves and then champions with Wolves, and playoffs with Ipswich. So basically the evidence says every time Mick McCarthy's been hired in the championship, he's got the club to at least the playoffs. And certainly in Millwall's terms and in Ipswich's terms, that's no mean feat, really. I suspect this is where we'll see him back in the championship. I don't see any stranger things have happened. We've seen, I don't know, Steve Bruce going into Newcastle, I guess. There are Premier League owners that do. I mean, look at Crystal Palace. Actually, every single time Crystal Palace hire a manager, except for De Boer, which didn't work out, they've gone for this staid, Tony Pulis, Roy Hodgson, Sam Allardyce, that type of guy. And I think Mick falls into that bracket, but maybe just a level below, doesn't he? So maybe in the right circumstances, he does get the last 15 games of a Premier League job. Who knows? Far, far more likely is that we see Mick back in his old stomping ground of the Championship. And I think Championship owners will all have been ticked off by this news yesterday, now knowing that the Batman light or the SOS signal can go up to Mick if needs be. Knowing the man's ego, and I don't say that as an insult, he backs himself, he expects to be trying to challenge to get up out of the Championship. I think he'll argue that his CV says he'll do that. He'll be looking for an upwardly mobile Championship team. I think he certainly didn't get that for the last couple of years at Ipswich, where the lack of parachute money and then lack of reinvestment of transfer money brought in made it hard. He says he's back on the market. Very flirty eyes made at the Championship owners. Should we have a few guesses? I had a little look down the table. There's a couple that he would absolutely love. I'm sure if Bristol City runs out of patience with Lee Johnson, he'd absolutely love that job. But they seem very much behind Lee. And would they go to an older staid manager like Mick? I'm not so sure. Cardiff is an interesting one, where there is the parachute money, where his old mate Warnock was there before. Neil Harris has come in and inherited players who've played in the Warnock style, which may be similar to the McCarthy style. Some similarities, I'm not saying they're the same, but certainly the more old school technique of management that you'd see there. So if Harris struggles, I'm sure he'd love that one. Sheffield Wednesday is interesting because it's in Yorkshire and Mick is obviously a proud Yorkshireman. Gary Monk slipping. I don't know whether Mick would quite fancy Mr. Chansiri as an owner. We'd have to see about that and the FFP business there. Otherwise, Middlesbrough, big club. Mick's worked in the North East before, hasn't he? I'm sure Steve Gibson would love him. But are they committed to Jonathan Woodgate, and would they kind of do that to Woodgate? He looks like he's going to get out of this, but hey, stranger things have happened. Never say never in the Championship. So look, a lot of speculation, but one thing that is true is that McCarthy is on the market and more than likely to land back in the Championship. So let's have a little bit of fun with it. Let me know in the comments, when do you see him returning? And is there even an argument that him and Warnock were the last of those, the last outlaws? And will people be keen to employ him? I'm sure they will. And have a little bit of fun speculating. Where do you think we'll see McCarthy landing back? Complete guesswork, obviously, but hey, look, we're short of news here, and when his name comes up, you can see the Ipswich scarf there. I know all about Mick, don't you worry about that. Let me know in the comments. Just a bit of fun, a little bit of speculation. Thought I'd do a video on it. I hope you have enjoyed it. I have got another one planned. Maybe that can go out as a live stream, so I'll try and advertise that in advance. In the meantime, don't go sunbathing. That's what the government have advised today, but let's not get political again on the channel. Plenty of stuff on the channel. Did a nice long live stream the other night on the recent statements by the EFL and the Premier League and the money distribution. So even though I say we're not going to get political, if you do want to see that side, plenty of that in there. And lots of other sort of top 10 videos. The stadium rankings has been drawing some quite good views. We've done the top 10 quickest goals of the season. We've done every single Championship club's performance of the season. So look, keep supporting the channel if you can whilst there is no football. It's a bit of a bind trying to get content out, but I'm doing my best and we'll try and keep things ticking over if you guys can help with the views in the meantime. With that being said, get in the comments, where do you think McCarthy's about to appear again? And I will see you all very, very soon. Stay safe. Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and give me your thoughts on Championship curmudgeon, stalwart, legend, icon Mick McCarthy being, quote, back on the market. I will see you all soon.